I am an ex-R&D leader with a PhD in chemistry, and I have become unemployable. Hey dudes, what's up? My name is Levent and this is Autistic Success. And today I want to talk a little bit about my experience, how at the age of 35 with a chemistry PhD and several years of experience in professional R&D field, I have become not only unemployed, but pretty much unemployable for the future. Because I think a lot of autistic professionals might end up in this very situation sooner or later. Even my own mother ended up actually in this situation in her mid to late 40s. So I think this is pretty much an inevitable for autistic professionals in the corporate field. And I want to give two or actually three reasons why this happens. So the first one is probably simply burnout from masking. So most of these corporate jobs require very, very, very strong masking, pretty much all day, every day. And it's just going to consume a lot of energy. I think it's going to consume maybe 70-80% of your energy, and the rest is only going to go to the actual work or job itself. So it's going to be energetically not sustainable. It's insanely lot of energy for pretty much nothing, because masking has no real value to your work actually, or even to your professional life. It's just required to fit into the corporate structure and fit in with the colleagues. So it's going to be simply not sustainable. In my experience, most corporate jobs require heavy masking, so it's not really something that is going to be evitable unless you have a very nice company or a very nice job, but it's almost impossible, especially larger corporations. I think it's almost impossible. So eventually you are going to either be burnt out and go on a sick leave and never come back, or get fired because your performance simply declines because you burn out from the masking. Or simply you get to quit because you're going to hate it so much and you're going to be very, very exhausted from constant masking. But one way or another, I think the constant masking aspect of corporate jobs is going to make you quit or get fired at some point. So this is the first reason. The second reason is definitely, I think, the expectations, clashing of the expectations versus the reality. So even when I started my chemistry and R&D career or scientific career, I had a lot of positive expectations. I thought it was some kind of magical bubble where people are smart, people actually care about performance. And if you are smart enough and you work hard, then you are going to get appreciated and you're going to get to move ahead. And it all comes down only to who is the smartest and who has the best performance. And that is it. And of course, reality gave me wake-up call, obviously, probably like an ice bucket challenge at this point. So obviously, reality was everything but this. I quickly found out that science is hyper political. It's pretty much a Hollywood names game. Who has the biggest name? Who has the biggest following? Who has the biggest fame? Performance is only secondary to the best, maybe even third. And in corporate R&D or industrial engineering, it's pretty much the same. Most of the colleagues and most of the bosses are mediocre at best. And your performance, if you perform well or if you are smart and you bring ideas, you are going to be appreciated and rewarded with either more work, or simply you are going to be punished for being better or smarter or quicker or whatever than your boss or than your colleagues. And pretty much the best way to survive is to go back into your box and just do mediocre work so that everybody is satisfied, but don't do better work than most of the people, and especially don't work better or don't work quicker than your boss, because that is going to backfire very quickly. So I also realized this in my corporate R&D field. So pretty much everybody has expectations and everybody dreams of some positive picture or build is in German, picture of the future of their future career, and eventually they're going to find out that it's probably not that of a rosy situation. But I think for autistic people, at least for me, it was definitely the case. I fantasized even much more than probably most people I had a very positive, very like dream, fantastical picture probably of my professional career. And obviously the reality gave me a huge check and wake-up call. And this also contributed to my disappointment, to my burnout, to my general disenfranchisement of with science and corporate R&D, and also contributed to my quitting of these fields. So this is the second reason for sure, that our reality is soon gonna clash big time with our expectations and dreams and fantasies of our career. And the third reason is linked to the first one, and that is unmasking. So once you have already quit your job, or at least you have become burnt out, and basically you have already quiet quit at least your job, then you might start unmasking big time. For me, the unmasking actually happened gradually, but once I quit my job at the end of last year, everything unraveled within weeks, pretty much. So I've already managed to unmask a major part in the past few years. But once I quit my corporate job, I unmasked within a month of quitting completely and utterly. And it all unraveled by itself, because simply your system, your personality, your mind registers that you are not masking anymore in the corporate environment. And it gives the green light, and it's gonna unmask whether you want or not, pretty much by itself within, in my experience, weeks. So very, very quickly. And I think this is the strongest reason, because once you unmask, there's not really any way back, or at least it's almost impossible. It's really like letting the genie out of the bottle. You cannot really put it back. So my experience is that once you unmask after quitting your job, or at least quiet quitting your job, it's gonna be almost impossible to go back into the former masked state and the masked employment. And also this unmasking process is gonna contribute a lot and build a lot your personality and your real unmasked, authentic self. And the stronger and more built up and more developed this unmasked, authentic self of yours is, the more difficult it's going to be to go back to jobs which required your old masked self, which means that simply you quit your high-level professional job, let's say in my experience, or at least in my case, the very sophisticated, high masking corporate product development field in the industry. Then I unmasked within weeks. Then there was no way back. Then there is simply no way back to such jobs anymore. I'm not saying I could never work in any company anymore, because I might have to eventually, but pretty much all of my cells in my whole entire body are going to be resisting, and it's going to be temporary at best. And I don't see a very rosy future for myself in the corporate field anymore. So yes, this is the third reason, that once you quit and once you unmask, your unmasked self is basically not going to be able to go back and feed back into the old jobs which your old masked professional self used to do. So I think unmasking is the final nail in the coffin. Once you go through that, there is almost no way back to go back to the old professional settings. If you can still work in those professional settings as your unmasked self, let's say maybe in IT, or maybe as a freelancer, maybe a graphic designer, or some fields where you have, let's say, full or significant home office possibility, huge flexibility, no obligatory office presence or not much, and no micromanager boss, I think that could work. But otherwise, if you have had a office-heavy, presence-heavy, manager-heavy office corporate work job, then your unmasked self is going to be simply unemployable anymore in the future. And the good news is then you have to figure out a way to make a living. So you're just like me, probably going to start business ventures and creative stuff and other outlets. I myself also work on a mobile app project at this point. So obviously the life doesn't stop at that point after unmasking, but you will be forced pretty much, and you better figure out a way to make a living and make a new job for yourself pretty much out of scratch, because yeah, as I said, I don't think there is a way back to the old masked corporate persona and way of living. So I didn't want to talk too much today. This was the idea that basically I think almost all or most of the autistic professionals in their lives, they're going to go through this or come to this point in their career where they are going to be quitting or fired from a job, and they are going to become unemployable, and they will have to figure out a way to survive in the future. The good thing is a lot of autistic people are very creative, very smart. Autistic people are the definition of out-of-box thinking. So we have a lot of very positive talents to actually make a living and somehow carve out a niche for ourselves in any specific business segment, startup, creative businesses, content creation, whatever, a lot of areas. So I think it's for the better in the long run, but it can be devastating for sure. And it's also a huge turning point in your life and your professional life. So this was the idea. And as usual, I'm very, very keen on hearing your opinion and experience about this, whether you have already come to this stage or you have experienced something similar in your life, and what your experience has been, how you managed to solve this. And I guess see you in the next one. Take care and bye-bye.